A lot of moral judgment here, Lenny.
Uh-huh.
It's clear that the Achaeans, after destroying Troy or capturing Troy, here it is destroying,
Right.
have a lot of pollution attached to them, a lot of miasma,
Right.
as one would say in ancient Greek. Clearly, Zeus is angry, Athena is angry,
Right.
and so this isn't going to do anything good for Odysseus as he's trying to come back from Troy.
Right. It's a very important message here.
And such an epic theme again that
Yes.
the nostos is lugros, it's disastrous. We already saw that idea in the Song of Phemius where the nostos was described as disastrous, and it was in a performative setting.
Right, right.
And so we know here that this is also something that it's not just a plan of Zeus, it's also a story that is launched by the plan of Zeus, which will have a similar ominous
Right.
outcome.
And you also have the absence of noos and the delay and the disastrous nature of the nostos, right?
Yes, and one of the few instances in Homeric poetry where justice and injustice are spelled out.
Uh-huh.
We see that so rarely in Homeric poetry and so often in Hesiodic poetry.
Exactly, exactly.
But here it is. It's clear that social justice is violated because of all sorts of ritually incorrect behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you do with the menis of Athena? You're the expert on menis. You wrote a whole book on
I
it.
wrote a whole book on it, but I mean, here you see how it's about a whole community. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a cosmic thing, motivated on a divine level because of massive offenses against what's proper, what's dikaios, and what has noos, and it's a terrifically difficult thing to overcome and to undo.
Yeah, and as you say in your book on the anger of Achilles, that it's a cosmic thing. It's a cosmic sanction.
Exactly.
Except that it doesn't have to come directly from Zeus. It can come from Zeus's daughter,
Right,
Athena.
who's after all, many times the instrument of his will. Right?
They can even wear the same kinds of clothes.
Exactly. Yep.
And I had the hardest time deciding how to do glaukopidos, which I translate here as with the looks of an owl.
Right.
And I was inspired by you, dear Lenny, for translating it that way, because you show that in some contexts, owl-eyed or with the looks of an owl, I like that translation better, really fits as a translation for glaukopis. But there are other situations where, we're tempted to translate as gray-eyed or referring to some kind of color.
I think the important thing is that Athena is a goddess who's visualized for her eyes too, when she appears to Achilles, for example, in the beginning of the Iliad.
Yes.
And the look in the eyes, it relates to the whole notion of her role as a protector and a nurturer of individuals.
Nice.
Okay, because of it's the notion that we have that's expressed in the English word pupil, right? Which is the pupil of your eye and your student, right?
Yes, I totally agree.
So this is in this context especially, it has a kind of special irony in the case of, and a special resonance in the case of Odysseus, because here he is, he's messed up. He's a part of a group that's messed up its return, and with a goddess who should be his protector.
And what you just said about vision being reciprocal, that being a give and take experience, is one of the reasons that I tried this translation of looks, because it's one of the few English words where it's a two-way street.
Nice.
You could say that somebody looks good or looks bad, but you're also looking at that person, so it's a two-way street.
Yep. No, that's perfect. And the owl is a creature that has those. It's the small Athenian owl that has that you see on Wise potato chips. That has the big eyes, right?
Big eyes.
That's the owl that we're talking about, right?
Yes, and it's a wonderful way of visualizing, no pun intended, the cosmic force.
Yeah, exactly.
And, Lenny, I would love it if you would upload your article on epithets for not only Athena as owl-eyed or with the looks of an owl, but also Hera as with the looks of a bovine.
Yes.
Which doesn't mean that Hera has the face of a cow.
No. Right.
It means that when you're hallucinating, you see cows.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And hallucinating, all right. When you're having a vision in a vision quest, and then the collective vision can be, let's say, our group sees a cow, that other group sees an owl, and so on.
Right. I mean, it relates to the whole notion of the mystes, of the initiate and
Yes.
their eyes, right?
Yes, yes.
Maybe you can say a word about
Well, just very briefly, that a mystes, an initiate, is somebody who is enabled to see in a special way. And again, it's a two-way street. You not only see things that other people don't see, and it helps if you've been fasting and if there are all sorts of special circumstances, and so there's some kind of mind alteration. But in any case, you have a specialized collective vision that makes you feel like you're belonging to a special group.
So are you saying then it's about visualizing the right thing, and that's how your noos stays in the right place?
Yes,
Is that
yes,
it?
exactly, yes. And when Stephen Kosslyn speaks in terms of cognitive psychology, how when we close our eyes and try to imagine something, that we're really screening the images before our eyes, I think that kind of mentality just comes alive in this medium where words are so precise that, you have words A, B, C come together, and people at least think they have a collective vision of the same thing.
I mean, the other thing that comes to mind is your article about the relationship between noos and sema, a sign.
Yes,
and
yes.
What you do with your intelligence, your noos, is you interpret semata, which includes words, but also all sorts of visual things.
Visual stimuli.
Those are the things that you process in the proper way.
So it's an amazing system of communication, and I can't get over this passage because it unveils so many things that are usually kept under wraps, like judgments about whether people act with moral justice or not, who's good and who's bad morally. And it's quite a lesson from the old man, Nestor.
Yeah,
and
it is.
of course, Telemachus really needs it because
Yep.
he is so clueless, if you'll excuse my using an overly popular expression. But he's clueless, and he has to get connected and connected and connected.
The other aspect of it is that Athena is there.
Yes, yes.
At this speech, right?
Yes.
Witnessing it, right?
And luckily
There
for
as his teacher and protector.
yes, luckily for Telemachus, even though Athena has a grudge against Odysseus and has to be processed in the course of the Odyssey, at least she's willing to help out Telemachus,
Yes.
and that'll help out the journey of a soul for Odysseus as well.
Yeah.